I never imagined my life would take such a turn, and all because of a simple act of kindness. My name is Emily Carter, and I had always believed I was the kind of woman who could handle anything on her own. I grew up in a small town in Ohio, where independence was not just a choice but a necessity. After moving to Chicago for work, I told myself I didn't need anyone else, that I could manage the city's chaos, my demanding job as a marketing manager, and the loneliness that crept in during quiet nights. But life has a way of surprising us when we least expect it. It all started on a rainy Thursday evening. I had stayed late at the office, trying to meet a deadline. By the time I left, the rain was pouring down in heavy sheets, and of course, I had forgotten my umbrella. I rushed toward the train station, clutching my purse close to my chest, my heels clicking on the wet pavement. Just as I was about to cross the street, a car sped by, splashing dirty water all over me. I froze, drenched from head to toe, my hair sticking to my face, mascara smudged around my eyes. It felt like the universe was laughing at me. That's when I heard a voice. "Hey, are you okay?" I looked up and saw a man standing a few feet away, holding a large black umbrella. He had kind eyes, the sort of eyes that made you feel safe even though he was a complete stranger. His brown hair was slightly damp, and his coat looked expensive but practical. He stepped closer, tilting the umbrella toward me. "I'm fine," I muttered, embarrassed at my state. "Just bad luck." He smiled softly. "Looks like you could use some cover. Where are you headed?" Normally, I would have brushed him off, but something about his tone, genuine, not pushy, made me pause. "The Blue Line station," I replied hesitantly. "Perfect, I'm heading that way. Come on." He gestured for me to step under the umbrella. As we walked, I noticed how he held the umbrella more over me than himself, letting the rain soak his shoulder. That small gesture touched me more than I cared to admit. We made small talk, and I learned his name was Daniel Hayes. He worked in architecture and lived just a few blocks from my own apartment. His voice was warm, steady, and somehow reassuring against the storm raging around us. When we reached the station, I expected him to say goodbye, but instead, he waited until my train arrived. "Take care, Emily," he said after I introduced myself. "And next time, maybe keep an umbrella in your bag." His smile was teasing but kind. I rode home thinking it was just a fleeting encounter, one of those rare moments when a stranger goes out of their way to be nice. But Daniel wasn't finished with me. A week later, I saw him again, this time at the coffee shop near my office. I was buried in my laptop, trying to fix a presentation slide, when someone set a cup of caramel latte on my table. I looked up, startled, and there he was. "Thought you might need a pick-me-up," he said. I blinked, confused. "How did you know this is my favorite?" He chuckled. "I didn't. But you look like someone who appreciates a little sweetness." I couldn't help but laugh. "That's oddly specific, but you're right." We ended up talking for nearly an hour, and I was surprised at how easy it was to open up to him. He listened intently, asked thoughtful questions, and never once glanced at his phone. It had been so long since I'd felt truly seen. When he left, I told myself it was just coincidence, that he was simply a kind man who happened to cross my path twice. But coincidences kept happening. He showed up at the farmer's market one Saturday morning when I was picking out apples. He carried a box for me when he saw I was struggling. He held the door open at the bookstore I frequented. At first, I thought it was just luck, the city playing matchmaker. Yet each time I ran into him, he seemed genuinely happy to see me. Still, I convinced myself he was just being kind. Men like him, successful, polished, confident, didn't usually pay attention to women like me. I wasn't glamorous or extraordinary. I was just Emily, the girl who worked long hours and came home to a quiet apartment. Then one evening, everything shifted. I had twisted my ankle on the stairs outside my building, and though it wasn't broken, it hurt badly enough that I limped inside with tears stinging my eyes. As fate would have it, Daniel was walking down the block and saw me struggling. He rushed over without hesitation. "Emily, what happened?" "I'm fine," I said, trying to brush it off. "Just clumsy." But he didn't listen. He slipped his arm around my waist and helped me up the remaining stairs. His touch was steady, careful, respectful, and yet there was something in the way he held me that made my heart race. He didn't let go until I was safely inside my apartment. "Sit down," he said firmly, guiding me to the couch. Then, to my surprise, he knelt in front of me and examined my ankle. "You should ice this. Do you have any frozen peas?" I laughed through my tears. "You sound like a doctor." "Not a doctor," he said, grinning. just someone who's twisted an ankle before. He went into my kitchen as if he'd been there 100 times, found a bag of frozen vegetables, and wrapped it in a towel. He placed it gently on my ankle, his hands surprisingly gentle for a man with such strong features. That's when I realized this wasn't just kindness. The way he looked at me, the care in his actions, the softness in his voice, it was more than courtesy. It was affection. It was interest. And suddenly, the walls I had built around my heart began to crack.